not rarely do we record during golden showers. And
What?
welcome to the Glacially Musical Podcast. It is beer, metal, and swearing. Of course, I'm Nik Cameron, the founder of Glacially Musical, joined by my good friend, the man who's always guilty. Keefy, he did it with the candlesticks in the conservatory, Chakas. How we doing today?
And I'm guilty too. My favorite St. Louis band beside The Urge is Gravity Kills.
I do not like Gravity
You
Nails.
don't. You never did.
No, I've
I
never done
I
that.
respect that you never did, but you were always wrong. How are you?
Did you just call me Dr. Noonien Soong?
No, I said you were always
Wait a
wrong.
minute, it's not Noonien Soong. I'm thinking of Noonien Singh.
Oh, you're talking about
Wait.
Con.
Gone!
Con!
No, I'm talking about Often Wrong Soong, the
Oh,
creator of Data. Anyway, everybody, thank you for joining us this week for the Glacial Musical Podcast, a ghost cult joint. Here's how we do this. We have a beer check, vinyl check, news check, meat of the day. This week, thank you for joining us for one of the many talented members of Cloud's Taste Satanic, Steve Scavuzzo, who's going to be here to talk about his new live record, Birmingham 2024, the very imaginatively named record. The Glacially Musical Beer of the Week is Goose Island Tropical Beer Hug. As today is now my Friday, this one is 9.9%.
we not
Finger
want
fudge
to
pour.
address the elephant in the room that we are Donless.
We are Dawnless, and I had the perfect intro for him, so I'm going to say it just in case I forget it.
Save it for next week.
No, I'll forget it. This week we are not joined by somebody that everybody thinks is thirsty, but really he's hungry. Donner Party de Lamont.
Yeah, I don't know. I
I thought it was a
guess.
good one.
I guess.
No?
I'm drinking it. Guess what? Liquid Death. One of
Third
these.
immersed. Immersed or
Third year
third?
immersed. No pop and no glass, so cheers.
Raw dog in it. Real
YouTube
quick,
happy hour.
the finger fudge pour. You pour straight down to the middle, you get all the foam, and then the carbon dioxide leaves your glass, making your belly happy. So, my vinyl check this week. We are finally getting into the records I got in Chicago. Minnesota. So, this one is Joe. Oh, what is his last name? Higurashi, I believe. Studio Ghibli, Boy and the Heron, a movie by the great Hiwa Miyazaki that came out of nowhere. Nobody knew it was coming. This is a Japanese record. It was $60. It's got the Obi strip. It is a two albums. If you look closely, you can see that the song titles are in Japanese. And it's just a regular black one.
That doesn't help me at all, but you read a little Japanese, no?
I read some. I mean, my Japanese. Oh, the English titles are here too. Oh, thank God. Let's see. I can read that one. Wana, wada wada. Fire something. Side B7. Rain of Fire. Oh, that character must be Rain. Neat. Okay. I can only read about 250 of the 880 kanjis. And then I can read, at least say out loud, what the other two syllables mean. So sometimes I can read, sometimes I can't. And now, another Minnesota record I bought. This one, they had a BOGO deal where basically it was buy one, get one free of a bunch of records they had on sale. This is Back in Black by, who is it, Keefy?
Amy Winehouse?
Cypress Hill.
Oh, okay. I
You
don't
told
know.
me 2 weeks ago there was no Cypress Hill Back in Black.
What
There
the
was
fuck
Black
do I know?
Sunday.
Why do you listen to me? I don't know
Because you
shit.
talk.
Oh.
This is a gatefold, which I find offensive. It's only one record. It's a short record, too. This isn't nearly as long as Black Sunday, another black one. Also, going to say, Cypress Hill writing songs about pot after primary legalization in the country, it doesn't hit the same. It doesn't hit the same as
They're not as
legalizing.
rebellious as they used to seem.
Well, they're all so old now. What do you got?
Well, in lieu of no Don, I will have to pick up the slack. We are on to 2024 albums that I bought. And so the few that I did buy and some that were sent to me. This one was sent to me, which was dope. Uh this is the Last Will and Testament by Opeth, with the artwork inspired by The Shining by Stephen King, including even the band photo. This is a double album and double gate, one single gatefold. You can see the beautiful artwork in the sepia tone and the back cover portraiture. It does seem very eerily reminiscent of the inn from The Shining. I still have the hype sticker label on here.
It has
Just a,
that look of you have to sit still for 30 seconds.
yeah. It's
Photography.
basically a horror story that Michael Ackerfeld wrote. Oh, these are actually the fancy vinyls too. This look at what would you call this guy? I don't know if you can make it out. It's like a very
Ooh,
muted.
that is a blue. That is a metallic.
It's a little
Like,
translucent, but not fully.
oh yeah, I love that.
It's like a
It changes.
mergy
It changes
aquamarine,
color.
a little bit orange, aquamarine, teal, yellowish orange, something in it. And it's got the Opeth has their own label imprint on Rating Phoenix Music, which is called Motor Belaget. I don't know what the fuck that means in Swedish.
I
Farfignuget,
will
whatever
say
the fuck.
that looks a far sight better than my aqua seafoam green copy of Luck and Strange, which I spun the other day because I was just
You were talking about it.
feeling a little David Gilmour.
Yeah, sure. Well, better to be feeling David Gilmour than Roger.
You know,
And
I have
then
not been wearing his shirt on purpose. I'm just gonna
well,
say.
not a surprise. And then this
Well,
was
for
the
you,
well, you don't have to do anything for me, but you should do it for yourself. So here's another great Chelsea Wolfe album, and I think this is a reissue of one of her earlier ones. Or was this her latest one? I can't quite remember. No, yeah, is this yeah, She Reaches Out to She Reaches Out to She. This was her 2024 album, one of my top 20. Opeth is in my top 10 for the year, Chelsea Wolfe in my top 20. And Chelsea Wolfe's from Northern California, incredible artist. We've got little poster action here. I don't know if I'm going to open it, but we've got a poster. We've got the except it is a gatefold for one side, one LP. So I know you'd be sad at it, but oh no, it isn't. It's just a sleeve. I'm sorry, but there's the front cover, there's the back
hooray!
cover. Yeah, and then this really cool. There's a lyric sheet insert. There's a poster, and then it came with this vinyl, which is another similar mergy. It could almost be just a bluer version of that other album. Look at this guy.
I like
It's
the other
much
one
bluer
better.
in person, I think,
I like the other one
than
better.
it's showing up here. But maybe if I light it a little, illuminate it. No, no, you're not looking. Okay, you're not any help to me.
Sorry.
I'm
See,
talking to you literally, and you're not paying attention.
I'm paying attention.
The
I
fuck?
like that one. I like the other one better because it has that metallic, melty look. My copy of Hair Knox, the Hair Knox record from a couple of years ago,
Sure.
has that in gold, and I really dig that.
Okay. Well, that is my final check.
I was gonna say something. Oh, I know. I said it. I said it. I got it in. I'm trying to not talk over you, and one of the ways to do that is to distract myself a little bit sometimes.
I get it. I also have a hard time focusing.
It's not the focusing part. It's the not talking part.
Well, just mute yourself. That's what the kill switch is for.
I do that and then I unmute myself. So I got to take it to
You need
another
hand
level.
control.
I need someone else. I need somebody to run the mute button for me. I need
I
a
got you.
producer. I need a
Someday we'll
producer.
someday we'll do these in person in the studio and see how that goes.
And then we
Uh,
each control the other one's mute button.
that'd be pretty fucking funny and rude. I need yes, I that would work. That's pretty
I'm
good.
gonna be laughing about that for a while. We
That's
need to
pretty
get the
good.
buzzer back. Why don't we have the buzzer anymore?
Yeah, I'll try.
I love the
It's
buzzer.
a lot to manage, and we have a guest coming, so I want to be respectful. But
I'm
yes, we
not.
have.
Well, we wouldn't do the
I
buzzer
also would
during
be
the
like, man,
test.
man, I get in a mood, and then it's over.
Alrighty, news check for the
News
day.
check time.
The big news, of course, is the Black Sabbath Back to the Beginning, or the Ozzy Osbourne Back to the Beginning, however you want to view it, is this Saturday. We will be doing is it live or are we recording to release later?
I think we're doing it live
Okay.
because of timeliness.
A Fair. Yeah, that's smart. A live reaction to the show. I will not be watching the entire thing. My plan is on Sunday morning when I get home, before listening to the album for Duncan, to catch up on. I'm gonna try to watch one song from every band to get an idea, and watch 20 minutes of Sabbath or whatever I can get my hands on, because I'm not gonna. I've got plans with the wife anyway, and the kids got sleepover, so it is happy date night. I'm gonna get myself a big ass steak and some taters. Anywho, the big news from the concert this week is Judas Priest will not be attending. I
They were never attending,
Oh,
but okay.
okay,
KK
but
is going to be there, so they definitely chose KK instead of Priest. But I
they
think
chose.
Priest is touring, and they're at some festival in Spain,
Mm,
so they just didn't.
they,
They couldn't make it for the day.
however, they did release a cover of War Pigs today,
Very good. I
which
liked it.
everybody is totally digging on, and that's really awesome. And that's all the music news I have. I have a little bit of movie news that. So there's a couple of pretty metal movies coming out this year. Some my two favorite Stephen King novels are being released this year as movies. The first one is The Long Walk, and I don't think I know anybody in this world that's ever read that book. These are all Richard Bachman novels, which the Richard Bachman novels tend to be more science fictiony, more dystopian kind of stuff. So the Long Walk basically is a dystopian nation, dystopian America, where there is a competition called the Long Walk, where 100 boys walk. If you drop below 4 miles an hour, they changed it to three for the movie. You get shot. When there's one boy left, he gets his whatever he desires. Mark Hamill plays the major, so I'm excited about that. The other one is a redo of The Running Man, or as I'm going to call it, a correction of The Running Man. Both of these take place, of course, in dystopian America, which is getting more and more impossible. So good luck, everybody. Both of these are going to be, like I said, pretty brutal, pretty metal movies. That there's no horror, there is no magic, there are no monsters, no ghosts, just guns. So, over to you.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. To me, The Running Man needs no improvement. It should not be remade. I'm
Have
not
you read
into
the
it.
book?
No. And I've
This
read.
is the book version.
Okay.
Okay, did you read The Shining?
Yes.
What did you think of the novel, The
I
Shining?
I liked it. I
Okay.
love the movie. I know that's bizarre, but I
Right.
love the
I
movie.
love them both. They're different things.
They are different things.
This version of The
Did
Running
you did
Man,
you see or read Doctor Sleep?
no.
I love the movie.
The
I'm
the
the
Arnold
only one who loved it.
the Arnold Schwarzenegger version of The Running Man, basically the game was just like it was like pro wrestling, right? You are in an arena and you have to survive in the arena. In the book and in the new movie, no, that's not what it is. It is there are 100 hunters chasing you throughout the entire country, and you have to survive 30 days. But everyone is looking for you, and if a bounty hunter kills you based on someone's tip, that person who made the tip gets money too.
Hmm,
So the populace is against you,
that's interesting.
pretty much.
So, in terms of a news check, I have to be the one to carry the torch for Don. The Foreigner news is that Foreigner has announced a deluxe box set edition of four. Lord knows why. There have been countless reissues of all the Foreigner records, but Strike While the Iron is Hot. And we know that Kelly Hansen is retiring at the end of this current tour or this summer or whatever fairs and festivals they're doing. And they've already announced the replacement is the multi instrumentalist rhythm guitarist from the band, who they've been letting sing more and more live anyway. But Blue Lou Graham, Lou Grammatico or whatever, Grammato, is going to be on tour with the band later this year. So I guess that you know, he's going to help smooth the transition or make the transition, but they're going to continue.
Oddly enough, my best friend sent me a text today that said, about to chill out and listen to some Foreigner.
Okay, well,
And I'm like, well, one, Chris, you have never mentioned Foreigner before today.
and
Two,
maybe listen to the podcast. I got a new appreciation for them.
no, he does not listen. And I'm like, oh yeah, we actually did a podcast series on that. He's like, oh yeah, what'd you say? Same thing we said a lot about those 70s and 80s bands. Great tunes, ass records.
Yeah, so a little spoiler alert here. So I interviewed this week Alan Niven, the former manager of Guns N' Roses, Great White, helped get Dawkins signed when there was no hope for them, worked with a bunch of other bands, and he took a swipe at Queen unprovoked and said, like, yeah, I heard Keep Yourself Alive and I thought marvelous. And then everything else they've ever done is most overrated crap. And I was like, it's funny you mentioned that because on my other podcast series, we listen to 9 Queen records and none of them are really good. They have some great
None of them are
hits.
really good. And
They don't
my
even have a
dumbass,
great, they don't even barely have a great side on any album.
no, they don't.
They have
The,
two to
the,
three banger songs on every record. One or two of them have 4 or 5. The
mhm.
majority of Queen's records are shit.
uh, A Night at the Opera is a phenomenal record. I'm gonna say again, I don't know why anybody besides Freddie sang, because I couldn't tell when
No,
it was
don't
anybody besides the drummer.
don't let Brian sing. Oh, Roger, excuse me, not
There's
Brian.
no
Brian
point.
can actually sing,
Yeah, he can, but he
and
doesn't
so can
sound.
Roger.
He
But
doesn't. But Brian doesn't sound significantly different from Freddie.
a little.
But that is a great record. The rest of them are crap. I did buy Day at the Races on Japanese
Well,
because
you have to have it. If you have
no,
one,
you
you
don't. You really don't have to have it.
okay,
But I needed to get some more stuff to get this Japanese package lined
okay,
up.
okay.
But
So that was a fun anecdote. Interestingly enough, we know that Wolfgang Van Halen has dropped out of the Black Sabbath thing, and I'm gonna tell you, I know the poster has not really been updated. I think Tool might be the band that is now out. Like they were in, they were out. Maybe they're not. I know they won't be live streamed, and I believe Maynard is supposedly still going, but very strange that they're not even on the poster, and they haven't updated the poster in months. So I don't know what's gonna happen because everywhere you look, Wolfgang's name is still on it, but he's definitely out. He said he was out.
right. Let me ask you a question about Tool. If Tool is not in it, how does that hurt them?
Not in any way, shape, or form. They don't care.
How does this help
The
them?
fact that they're even part. Well, how does it help them? I mean, it's just like, are they as big as Metallica? No, they're not. So, I don't know.
They'll never be as
Um,
big as Metallica. Metallica's a different thing.
they
But
will definitely be a different thing.
well, Metallica's different because they're one of the few genre bands in the world that escape their genre.
Right. Well, so funny that you helped me with my segue. I just wanted to do a brief. So this is the last until later in the year when Metallica does Australia and New Zealand and Abu Dhabi and Bahrain and stuff like that.
Is Normal in Abu Dhabi, or did John stop Garfield from mailing him?
I got that reference, but I don't know the answer. So I just wanted to do a very brief, extremely brief, because we have our guest coming in. So Metallica, most of their touring is done for the year, and there are some more things going on. But I just wanted some Metallica by the numbers. We did this once before M72 started and before we saw them. So just really quick, here's the numbers of shows they've done year over year, the last 10 years, really quickly. We know that when they didn't in the past, when they didn't have a new record, they didn't play much. 2015, 17 songs. 2016, Hardwired comes out, 23. I'm sorry, 23 dates
And
worldwide.
real quick, should point out this is when they started playing stadiums.
They've been playing
Hardwired,
stadiums for a very long time. You're
not in
wrong.
America.
Yes, in America. Back to Summer Sanitarium 2000,
This was just
1997.
Metallica. That was a festival. I'm
It's
not counting
it was
that.
their own festival. It
I
was their
know
own
it was their own
touring
festival. I'm not
festival.
counting it.
You're wrong. Because this is everything. Festivals, headline dates, everything. So you can't please don't silo my point of view. Thank you. 61 in 2017, 49 in 2018, 42 in 2019, pandemic, 4 in 2020. Then no shows until I saw them on my birthday in 2021, and then 18 that year. 25 in 2022, and this is what we were talking about, right? So 29 9 in 23, 31 in 24, and that's also counting their like live streamed concert from LA at the end that they added and a few other things they added, right? And so far this year, 20 with about 10 or 15 to go. Not a lot of dates left, including this Black Sabbath date. Then, just really quick, I thought this was super interesting. Just in 2020, right? Like just this year. Um, Here's the different albums the band has pulled from on the entire M72 tour. However long that is, 3 years, right? 3 or 4 years of it. This was year 4, right?
Mm, three,
Two,
four,
yeah,
five.
23, 24, 25. But they toured all of 2022 also.
Not for M72 though.
I thought so.
It no, because the album came out in 23,
Okay.
so
Well,
they
anyway, the
toured 3 years on it.
officially the M72 World Tour. Here's the most, what would you guess is the most songs they played an album from?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that question and phrase it in a way
Of
that I
the
can
entire
understand?
in the entire M72 tour for the last 3 years, what is the album you think they've played the most songs from?
Oh, 72 seasons.
That is correct. By
They
8.
played like when we saw them, they played like 5 and 5. And
So,
when you see them 2 nights in a row like that, having playing that much of the album spread over 2 nights is amazing. It's great.
and
It's perfect.
that's
It's
right,
wonderful.
and that includes like everything. So, unofficially, they have played songs from 13 different albums with sort of the doodles and the covers and everything. Um, so 72 Seasons, the Black Album, number 2. Ride the Lightning, number 3.
Interesting.
That's the top 3. And then there's a big gap, about a 40-song gap between the amount of songs played from Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning, because I think for Master, they're mostly doing Master of Puppets just and maybe Battery or The Thing That Should Not Be or something else, okay?
I think we saw Battery the first night and Master of
But
Puppets the
most
second
cities, apparently, they are not doing multiple Master of Puppets songs. Then another big drop, like 50 more songs lower
So
from
when you say like
Justice.
50 songs, it's like 50 songs off the whole tour.
Different. Yeah.
So like
So
so
72
they
seasons, 209 songs the whole tour,
okay. Yeah,
multiple
yeah, yeah.
years. Black Album 201. I thought this would be more confusing if I did it this way. Ride the
I like
Lightning
it this way.
188.
Okay.
Master of Puppets 145.
Okay.
145.
Precipitous drops.
Precipitous drops. Precipitous drop again. And Justice for All 94.
Well, they only played what, one
One
Harvester, and I think they played a little bit of Blackened.
once in a while, Blackened. We heard Blackened. That was
We
great.
know, did we?
We did. You lost your shit.
It sounds like I mean, I would. I know that.
Your
I
wife
just don't remember
laughed.
doing that. Okay, that checks out. I have a,
Kill
I have
'em
a, I have
all.
a, I have a funny lawyer wife story if you want to hear it right
Kill 'em
now.
all. 81.
You know what? That's the right number.
Yeah. Improvisations.
Leave that
I'm
alone.
not sure what the fuck they're counting there. Reload 57. Death Magnetic 46. Load 41.
So Death Magnetic, they only play because we saw Cyanide, right?
Yeah. Which I could live without, but
I,
it's
I
good.
there's a
I don't
lot of
need it.
other better songs
There's
off of
much
that
better
record.
songs.
Broken, Beaten, Scarred, All Nightmare Long. If you would have played one of those, I would have lost my shit.
Yeah.
Cyanide, I'm like, yay, I finally get to hear a song off this album live. That was the best part I can say about that song.
Yeah. Load 41.
Yeah, so they were just playing.
Well, Reload more than, I mean, much more than
Well, yeah,
Load.
because Reload, they have Fuel,
Yeah.
they have King
And
Nothing.
they were adding new
No,
load
King
things
Nothing's
in.
Load.
Yeah.
Fuel, Memory Remains,
Yeah.
and one of the long ones I think they played too.
Yeah, Fixer.
Yeah, but for Load, the only songs they can play off Load really are
Well, Until It
Until It
Sleeps.
Sleeps and Bleeding Me. Because
Leading
the
me.
rest, yeah, and the rest of the songs from that record have just faded.
Yeah. Well, now that the box set is out, maybe they'll do more. Hardwired 40, which is mostly hardwired,
Right.
and Spit Out the Bone occasionally.
You can tell if they've just played one song off one of these albums like the
So
whole time.
weirdly, for Setlist FM, both covers and S&M have rankings, which is weird, but it's
They played No
possible
Leaf Clover.
they have played No Leaf Clover. It's S&M 19. It's mostly whiskey in the jar, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Saint Anger 5. And
We
that's
didn't
kind
see a
of the,
Saint Anger, did we?
I feel like Dirty Windows or Sweet Amber.
No, I know we did not hear either of them. Okay, no, we didn't get one.
Yeah, but he made a joke in night two about like very brave of you to wear that Saint Anger shirt. Here's a song from it. Yeah, we definitely heard
Yeah,
one of them. I couldn't care less. All right. But I just
I
thought
can't
that was
because
a
I didn't.
fun.
I never saw it.
I just wanted to just mention that the Metallica M72 tour is winding down later this year, and then they have booked dates for next year. Don't know if we're going to get a new album and a rebrand of the tour, or if they're just going to ride out the string on this album. I'm really surprised. The money must be, like I said, 5 to 10 million a show, probably, or something, 5 to 8 million,
Well,
even
they
in the
played
concert in efforts down.
when we saw them. They averaged 60,000. I'm going to call it 60,000 people in St. Louis. If you have an average of $100 ticket, just ticket sales alone is 12 million.
That's true. And Foo Fighters put out a hardcore punk cover of a Minor Threat song,
Oh
which
yeah, I
I
heard
thought
about
was
that.
super
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, yeah.
All right, that's all I got. Shirt check, and then let's bring in our guest.
I love Kitties and Beer.
That's a pretty good one.
I
I am
love this
wearing,
shirt.
funny enough, I'm wearing my Metallica 40th anniversary shirt. Still
I
pretty.
dig that shirt. That's
I
a good shirt.
lost, I lost about 10 pounds since the start of the year. I had some blood work done for my upcoming sleep study on Tuesday, and I'm down another pound or so. So good for me.
You down for a pound?
I'm down for a pound. So I'm going to give us a pause. You can do when we unpause and bring our
Oh yeah.
guest in, you will then lead the rest of the episode with our guest.
Cool.
And I will comment here and there.
And we are now joined by a luminary in the stoner metal genre, a man who always lights up a room with his flashy, doom-laden riffs. Friend of the show, first three-time guest except Danny, maybe. Anyway, Steven Scavuzzo of Klaus Taste Satanic. How are we doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well. It looks like we should have called each other. It looks like we're wearing the same t-shirt.
No, mine says I love Kitties and Beer.
Oh, it's much better. I gotta get one of those.
I got it at the punk rock flea market that we did not go to this year.
Oh, that's cool, man. I love that. I love that. But I'm doing well, thank you, and happy to be here, man. Very
It's
appreciate
been
it.
a while since we've talked, and apparently things happened as I discovered on Sunday. So on Sunday, I'm just like, I don't even know what happened. I'm like fiddling around, piddling and whatever. And for some reason, I brought up the Clouds Taste Satanic band camp. And I am legitimately a fan of your band, and I have been for a very long time. For me, I guess about 7, 8 years now. Anyway, and I looked and went, wait a minute. What happened? What the hell's that? How did an album? We'll get to the album soon, but first, how did this come out without me knowing?
You're talking about Birmingham 2024, I assume.
Well, I was teasing, but yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Um,
I was
about
teasing
2 years
it. I was-
ago, back in 23, we were going to Europe for about a week of shows. And Brian came up with the idea of, well, we had a couple of days of downtime. Why don't we book a studio for the day, go in, record the set, and, a better use of, as opposed to sightseeing, maybe we could, get something accomplished.
You did
And
get fish and chips, though, right?
well, this trip was Berlin, and when we went to Birmingham a year later, definitely fish and chips was done.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah, absolutely, it was taken care of. And so, and we went in and we did that. We were again, this was 2023. We were in Berlin for a couple of days. Stopped into a studio called Big Snuff, recorded the set. We're very happy with the results. Went home, and that was it for the time being. Fast forward a year later, last year, 2024, we were in the UK for Desert Fest, and also a bunch of shows that we're going to do after that. And we thought, wow, it might be a good idea to record the set as well. We were happy with the way the last one turned out. We didn't do anything with it at that point, but we were like, okay, we could envision maybe some live in studio releases. We did the recording in Birmingham at a place called Hellfire Studios, and it was a great visit. We got to visit the Black Sabbath bridge.
You're answering all of my questions before I ask them.
Okay, let me back for it. Yes.
So Okay, so like what photos did you take at the Black Sabbath bridge? Of course, I've got to ask that
Well,
question.
the ones that I assume everyone does, it was four of us in the band, so we all had to like, argue over who's going to be Ozzy, who's going to be Iommi, so we spent a half an hour dealing with that. And once we got that sorted out, it was like, okay, we'll take a few pictures and we tried to look doomy, didn't work out. Everyone ended up smiling. We might as well have been standing in front of the Statue of Liberty or something like
Did you have the dog Doom Doom? Did you have
that.
somebody playing?
No, but we did have some. It was raining, and we did
It's
have.
okay. Nobody, I mean, nobody gets that reference. I don't even remember what it's from, but there was a show where they had a parody of like the Michael Jackson and the Beatles cartoons, where it was the Black Sabbath cartoon,
Oh, I saw that. I've seen that. That
and
thing's on.
they had a dog named Doom Doom.
Oh wow, boy, you went in a deep dive on that. But that thing
My
was so cool.
references
I
are
do remember
always
seeing it.
super obscure.
No. Well, we were just happy to be there, and that was literally the only site we saw. Hungered down, spend a day recording. Um, but again, fast forwarding to like, it was the idea was again, we were going to at some point put this out. But we got home from the tour, and the gentleman who recorded us, Ajit Gill, had already mixed it. I mean, we weren't even planning on mixing it, but he mixed it, sent it to us, and we go, "Wow, this sounds awesome." And he ended up mastering it, and so we essentially fast forwarded the what is now going to be known as the a live in studio series, and we started it off with Birmingham 2024. And so we turned it out pretty quick, and we had it out, and it was released in February. So
I'm going to point out there are more words in what you have said than the entire album. For anybody that doesn't know, who hasn't been paying attention to anything we have said on this show for the past year and a half, Cloud State Satanic is a completely instrumental band and always has been, and I love instrumental music. I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of symphonic stuff, and I always loved the instrumental things the instrumental songs in metal band and on metal albums and all that, especially Quiet Riot, because their use of melody was just amazing. That's a joke. I don't even know if that's true. Speaking of Birmingham and all the photos, I was going to point out the Black Sabbath today shared a photo of James Hetfield on Lynch.
yeah, I saw that it got forwarded, and at first I thought, well, James
Did
has
he
a lot
look
more.
real?
I'm sorry.
Did he even look real to you in that photo?
Well, what was weird was that, weirdly enough, I was talking to Brian, our guitar player, a couple of weeks ago, and somehow the topic of facial hair came up, and he goes, "Oh," and I don't remember him ever having facial hair. He's blonde, but he said, "Oh, I had a goatee for a little bit," and I was like, "I don't remember that." He goes, "Well, I'm blonde, so you don't really see it." Anyway, so when I saw the picture, I was like, "God, that looks a lot like Brian, except for the facial hair and the tattoos." And so at first I thought it was that him, and because Greg, our drummer, sent it. And then I was like, you know what? I think that's James Hetfield. And he looked super cool. He looked
Now
cool
that
as
I
a
th-
Brian.
now that I think about it, it looks like his face was melting a little because he has blonde and gray facial hair.
Yeah.
So, because I looked at it on my phone, I'm like at work and my phone rings. I'm like, what the hell? Neat. What the? So I had to like scroll. It looked like AI. And I just realized now it's because of the facial hair. It had
I'll be
facial
honest with
hair
you. I
and a
was
strange
actually
head.
surprised. I thought, wow, this is. I now know this is James Hetfield. I was like, he's a good looking guy. Or maybe just he happened to like catch a pose that was just like super cool with the crossed arms, the tattoos, and well, it's not cool as that cat, but I mean, it was definitely cool looking. But I did see
I,
that, and I mean, it's a rite of passage basically for anyone with slightest interest in metal. You're going to Birmingham, you're going to sit on that bridge.
yeah, and I'm absolutely certain that was the first time James Hetfield ever had an opportunity to sit on that bench. I think he's been there a couple of times. We are joined by my cat Gigi.
Nice.
He's going to try to go away because he doesn't like this.
Well,
See you, buddy. You have to go away now. Okay. He's not leaving. So let's talk about the set list. I noticed that you pulled a little bit of a Pink Floyd on this one, and you pulled out chunks of a song
yes.
instead of playing the entire song. You told me in one of the interviews we have done before, because you have been on this podcast 3 times, and you've also guested on my other podcast, Department of Metal Antiquities with Duncan, at least twice. And in one of those times, you said to me that your drummer, Greg, said one of the funniest things you had ever heard, because you were playing a set. It was a 2-song set because all of your songs are nine hours long. And he said, "That was our first song. Hope you liked it. Here's our last one."
That's still
And that
fun.
just still strikes me as, yes. So it was interesting to me to see you pulling a Pink Floyd and carving out a section. What led to that?
To be honest with you, I wish we did it more. Besides, I mean, it sounds flippant, but I mean, it's easier just to play the 2 20-minute songs and be done with it. You practice them, they're there, you just revisit them and do it. And we did do that on this song for the song Second Sight. You get the entire song from beginning to end. But on the other side, we were like, okay, well, we always feel like there's elements of these 20-minute songs that it would be interesting to mix up, to take sections of one song, maybe 10 minutes of something, and combine it with maybe 10 minutes of another song.
I
I don't
think
know.
you actually mentioned that to me last year before going to Birmingham, that you weren't sure. Yes, because we discussed that with Duncan, and you said you weren't sure how the set list was going to go, but you were hoping to be able to do something like this, which just going to point out, Keefy, that this just shows how one of my many correct theories is absolutely correct. There's no such thing as a song, and you should not judge anything by songs. You should judge it by the entire album. Continue, Steve.
Noted. Go
I
on.
mean, part of it is part of it is a challenge, a musical challenge, a way of saying, okay, again, once we've spent time creating these songs, it's if we're just like picking a couple songs out for a set, you just go practice them and you're done. But it tends to be a little bit more of a challenge to, if we have the ability and the time, to take sections and combine them together and in essence make a different song. Also, we're in a position where we've got set times. We're not Pink Floyd, and we don't choose the amount of time that we sit on a stage. We are, depending on where we play, our set could be 35 minutes, it could be 40 minutes, it could be 45. And, oftentimes in a tour, you've got, every night is different. So you have to be a little more creative as far as you just can't say, okay, we're doing our 2 20-minute songs and that's it. Sometimes you don't get the opportunity. So you have to be able to carve up a little bit, choose, pick things out. Sometimes we take some older songs that are just short in general. But again, if we can take sections of songs and make them into individual songs or combine them with other things, it's more enjoyable for us. And I would hope that the people who like our music would be up for the challenge and would enjoy it as well.
I would think that would be something that you would have wanted to do all along. Because now I love 20-minute songs. I love 40-minute songs. One of my favorite, the greatest side of music of all time, and I will die saying this, and Keefy referred to me once as pathologically consistent for saying this. The best side of music is Hooker and Heat side 4.
Huh.
It's basically got Boom 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 and then Boogie Chillin' number 2 for 15 minutes.
I've never heard of that record.
You know who John Lee Hooker is, I assume.
Oh.
It's John Lee Hooker and Canned Heat.
Oh, that's a great record. Oh, yeah, okay. I know that one. I don't have that record, but I actually just got a John Lee Hooker album.
John Lee Hooker is the most recorded blues man of all time, they think, because he recorded under so many different names. So he would have like 6 or 7 concurrent record companies.
He's the Boom 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 guy from the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, and I just got that record. I just finally got the Blues Brothers soundtrack like 3 months ago. Yeah. And you know what's not on that goddamn thing?
He's great in the movie.
I know, it's amazing.
And
did you know he did not lip sync that?
I would have been shocked if he did. I mean, this is a movie from the 70s, so it would have been...
He's never been able to play anything twice the same way.
Yeah.
They couldn't do a take of him. It would be wrong every time. But the thing about that record is it's just a perfect side, and it's very long. And that's what I really dig about it. They're just exploring it. But your albums, even though, I mean, by and large, the formula is the same, but they all have very different moods. The last studio album, 7980, that we did an episode on, That's my favorite studio record of yours,
Oh,
period.
great. Thank you.
It beat out Cloud Cover, but each one you put out I like more and more. So that's pretty sweet. I appreciate that. So continue to improve and do better than everything you've ever done. It
Thank
helps
you.
me. So
Thank you.
no pressure though.
Well, we start with a theme and we carry that theme through depending on how we started. 79 AE was the soundtrack to a movie. The next, the record that we're working on now, it comes from a different place.
But because of that, because of the different the different themes, I was trying to use a $5 word and I lost it. Because of the way these albums are all thematically different, I wouldn't imagine you're ever going to have like a 3 hour set time where you could play one song off every record.
We'd have to get to either do some sort of residency or get so popular that, that we're able to fill a place and play for an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever it is.
And because of that, the idea, I think, of just doing little chop outs, it creates a cooler listening experience.
Well,
And
well,
it gives an audience that may not know you already a better sense of what you do.
we record a lot, so we have a lot of music, and we don't have any hits. So it's those combinations that kind of gives us a blank slate for choosing whatever we want. People who come to see us don't really have, they might have a favorite music, but they don't really have any expectations about what they're going to hear. You go to see Ozzy, you better hear Crazy Train.
Damn straight.
It's that's not going to happen with us. There's no hits. So it gives us the freedom to, in essence, play what we want, but play new stuff, play some old stuff. We're going up to Canada in September for a short tour, and we're going to be playing. Half the set is going to be songs that haven't even been released yet, that we're recording now. I honestly not sure if anyone who comes to see us is going to care or know the difference. To be honest with you,
I I love what you do. Don't misunderstand, but I don't know that I would know the difference
okay.
because what you do is it's all about the mood for me. And when it comes to instrumental music, for me, it's about just getting on a vibe and following it. And as I've gotten older, I've finally been able to buy all the albums that I've ever wanted. So I mean, I have 1,500, so I don't listen to. It's not like when I was 12 and I had 40, so I could listen to everything in a month. So yeah, I would have that problem, but I would totally dig it.
Well,
Just when I see Steve Vai, I didn't always recognize what he was playing as well.
there'll be some older songs for I mean, we wouldn't just go in with blank slate and just play all new
Pink
stuff.
Floyd did it. I mean, if you're gonna do Pink Floyd things, you might as well do all the Pink Floyd things.
Well, when we get the visuals going and they let us use the smoke machine and some of the flashing lights, definitely works better for sure. Gives you
I'd
more of
love to
that
see
vibe.
you guys hook up with a light designer. Like I'm sure you've seen Earthless, right? So Earthless does the liquid light 60s psychedelic freak out thing. I think that would match beautifully to what you guys do. And we say all the time, like, for artists, you have to live in between releases, right? So you don't go lay in a hyperbaric chamber, I don't think. In between times, you're living life. So things change, you change. Out of curiosity, just from the whole time of the band, from the start to now, do you play things differently personally? Just you, like time has changed you, and maybe live you have a little looser feel to some of your stuff, or is it just kind of more of the same? I don't feel like you're a perfectionist so much that you are every single thing has to be like on the record. It doesn't even feel like that's this kind of band anyway. But just for my own curiosity, is that something for you that's important?
I think that yeah, if anything, I think we've gotten looser. Which I think makes us better. More relaxed, less concerned about every last note. We do practice a lot. We rehearse. We want it to sound good, and so it's not kind of we're not a jam band, so there's less spontaneity.
You
Uh,
answered my question before I asked it yet again. Thank you. Please
yeah.
continue.
but we do change things up a little bit, and again, our approach to everything, and the solos and things like that, they get modified over time. Yeah, it's not revisiting the record and saying, okay, every note is in place. That's not what we're interested in. And if we ever even got bigger, the topic of bands that play live to click tracks has come up in discussion, and I honestly can't fathom it. I understand it, but I can't fathom it. At what point do you need to, if you're assuming you're not some sort of dance related thing where you're working off of drum machines, if you're a rock band, I understand that why you would want to use it to some extent, but it really guts the spontaneity. I mean,
It
it's
doesn't
one thing to
feel
play the
right.
songs as they are on a record, but to play them to a click live, it seems
It's
like you're handicapping yourself, the enjoyment you're getting from the performance. And I don't know. So
one of our
we draw the
favorite
line
pony
there. I guess that's the answer to that one.
one of our favorite ponies to ride is Metallica, and everybody's heard Saint Anger, I'm sure, and we all hate Saint Anger. Nobody, I mean, I've never met anybody that says, "Oh, Saint Anger is great." And the reason why Saint Anger sucks is because they recorded it poorly. The songs weren't, 10 out of 10, but they were good enough that if they had recorded them properly, it would have been okay. They flew in all the guitar parts. So James would record like the verse once and the chorus once, and they would just copy it. It was just copy pasta. And so when you do that, it doesn't sound like metal. And I think if you do click track, again, it doesn't sound like metal. It sounds like wrong. I don't know how else to put it.
There's so many different kinds of metal. I mean, so
Metal that I listen to, I guess I should say.
I mean, I don't know what thrash bands do. Or death metal bands. I mean, I assume before clicks got big, they played on their own.
I think they do a lot of drugs is what they do, but I don't know for sure.
Well, that's one reason to pick up the album. I'm not sure if but for some reason the concept of a click live was where it just seemed like, okay, you're losing, even if you're playing stuff off the way it is on the record. If you're like tying yourself down to a click, that seems to like gut any chance of spontaneity out of the equation. So we draw the line there, and the rest it should be. I don't know. I'd like to when we mash up songs. I guess that's also a way of trying to loosen things up a little bit and get off the record and trying to make things feel a little more
A couple of
spontaneous
years
without
ago,
being jammy.
my wife and I were talking about baseball, right? And not in a Naked Gun sort of way, but like actually baseball. And I said, they're talking about putting in robot umpires. And she looks at me and she goes, I would not want that. I'm like, so you don't want the call to be right 100% of the time? She's like, no, I want the human element of it. So what you're saying is you want the mistakes. She's like, yeah. And that's how I feel about music. I want the mistakes. And I also want the mistakes in sports because then that gives me something to get angry about. All my teams have won championships, so now I don't have to be all that worried about it anymore. I've
One time,
seen
one thing I harp on a lot occasionally in practice is that when we're playing a song and someone screws up, that you keep going. It's about not about part of it. You want to correct your mistakes, but you also want to be able to come out of them and make something of what you're playing. You should be able to. I
that's
guess
an
it's almost
eighth
like
grade music lesson.
or it's
That
almost
was
like
something.
jazz, it's like, it's there's no wrong notes in a sense, or you make a mistake, you roll with it and you go. And that's how you grow as a band, is
One of
the
the things I remember my eighth grade music teacher, who was the conductor of the eighth grade orchestra, was if you're in a drum competition and you lose your drumstick, what do? You don't pick it up. You just keep going. And if you do it right, the judge will hand you your stick and you can grab it in stride.
yeah.
That's what a live concert should be. That's why, like, we did an episode on the Doors live in Detroit. Remember that one, Keefy?
Indeed, I
And
do.
God, that's such a great record because it's legitimately a live album. That was when the Doors were recording all of their concerts to put together it ended up becoming absolutely live and Alive She Cried. except they took all of the good parts and mashed them all together. This is just them playing. Half of the show is improvised. A third of the show they don't even know what Jim's going to do, and it's like they did the song Crossroads. Like one of the things I think a lot of Doors fans forget is how big into the blues they were. They toured with Albert King on the Morrison Hotel tour. Albert King was their opener. My God, could you imagine that? But in this, and they covered Crossroads, except that nobody knew it.
It wasn't. It wasn't the Cream version of Crossroads, was it?
No. See, when Cream did Crossroads, they played Crossroads. When the Doors played Crossroads, they played Night Train.
Brought to you by Jim Beam Bourbon. Like, Jesus.
And Southern Comfort. So like they're playing Crossroads, and then they're playing Night Train again, and Jim's like, going to the crossroads on my mind. And I'm like, what? And you know what?
See my dick.
It was 18 months before that.
Oh.
But John Densmore said he didn't pull it out because if he did, he would have tripped.
Oh.
But that's what I love about the live shows. That's what I love about those are my favorite live concerts. They're the ones that you get warts and all. Like Kiss has been doing these soundboard series, and they don't sound wonderful. They don't sound like a live. They don't sound like what you think a Kiss record or Kiss live concert sounds like. It sounds what it actually does.
Well, turning it all back around. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm bringing it all back.
Go ahead.
Now. I'm going to bring it back for you.
Everybody hears me every week. Go ahead.
Is this live in studio thing was a compromise?
Again, you did it again. I was right where I was heading, and you just took it right there.
I'm sorry. I knew where you were going. I'm moving along, and so
you must have a date tonight.
I'm here all night. We're here all night. So we don't have the same luxury, I guess. I mean, I don't know how the Doors were recorded, if soundboard or whatever, but I think we were, recording in clubs. You're at the mercy of whoever's handling it, and sometimes they can be brilliant, and sometimes they can be awful. And so I think we were thinking that we'd really like to be able to have a document of the set we're doing. We wanted to sound live. We wanted to sound without overdubs, just straight as we play. But we also wanted to sound listenable, and board recordings, can be really spotty and really hit or miss. So we're like, okay, if we're gonna put this out and ask people to want to listen to it or buy it, at least give us some sense of, okay, here's what it would really sound like on a really good night, where the sound is like really happening. So it's there's no overdubs, there's no fixes, but and we probably played each song a couple of times and picked the best one. But
God damn it.
It's nothing but. So this is what you're getting live.
You did it again.
Sorry. If you send me a list of questions, I can just know where to pause.
Why am I even here?
I ask that question to myself every week, but it's your show, so that's why.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Go fuck yourself.
Go get the papers 2 times. Get the papers.
I'm gonna go get the papers. Get the papers. I learned why the mob still does illegal gambling today. Does anybody want to hear that, or should we just move on to talk about things Steve does?
Can you do it in 25 words or less?
Yes.
Done.
Customers get credit at the event.
So
instead of having to you put a $500 bet on the Yankees to win the World Series, if you do that at Brodog or whatever the hell the damn things are, you got to pay them $500.
Yeah, but you're most likely to keep your limbs in the long run, though.
Not if you win, you're fine. If you do it at the Gambino Social House, you don't got to pay them $500 right away. If you lose, however, you got to pay them $530, and then they're going to send the loan sharks out for you. But
Yeah.
what? I just thought it was neat. So a couple more questions about this album, and then we can really just piss away whatever. But I noticed that there are four tracks on the digital version and 3 tracks on the vinyl version. So
Yes.
I'm confused because it seems to me you could have just thrown one more 10-minute or 20-minute song on there and done a 2-album set. And you typically do 2-album sets. So what was the logic here?
We wanted this. I don't want to use the whole bootleg vibe thing because that seems like really overdone these days. You know, every band's got like their bootleg series or whatever. If not that, they do one record that they emulate the bootleg artwork. And so we were kind of loath to go down that path. But at the same time, this is kind of like a live recording. We wanted to keep the price down, basically. We wanted to keep it simple. We wanted to keep the packaging simple. With our, our studio records, we tend to go a little more overboard with the packaging and, that raises prices. But with this, we wanted to keep the price down. We wanted to have a $20 vinyl. In this day and age, we want to be able to sell. We're selling this for $20 plus $5 shipping. And
$27.25 for me because I had to pay $2.25 in tax.
Oh, damn.
Just for the record, for anybody listening, it's close. Missouri. Fuck Missouri. I did pay for this. I did not request a free one. I didn't even say anything. I just threw money at it and said, "Steve, come on the show."
I'll send you the next one for you.
No.
All right, buy the next one. Buy them all.
I'll buy the next one.
The next one's coming out in February, so I'm on that one.
I can. You know what?
Is that a spoiler?
$38.
Are we allowed to let that be known, or you've
He already said it. We don't edit. He said it. We don't edit.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! There's a new tagline.
If the glove fits, you must have quit. What are you doing?
New tagline. New tagline. You said it, and we don't edit.
There you go. That's the plan, and I stand by that. So we want to keep it a single record. We wanted to keep it a nice cover, but not extravagant, and colored vinyl, but not crazy. Just so we could keep the price down. And I don't say it's about the music, but yeah, it's like if you're that interested in it, and you want to check it out, but it's one piece of vinyl, and this is what what we bump up against all the time. You got 20 minutes of a side of vinyl. You want to push it to 22 or 24, fine. You start getting longer than that, you lose sound quality.
My Coverdale and Page is 31 minutes each side.
Oh, that's insane. That's crazy.
I bought it, and I spent $100 on it because there were only 2 pressings: South Korea or Brazil.
I refuse to do that.
I wanted to hear "The Boys Are Hot Tonight" on vinyl.
Oh my God,
it's a terrible song.
Sounds like you got every cent's worth of that.
It was a Father's Day gift, so.
Oh, there you go.
One of my first Father's Day where I got a record, the card said, "You're priceless to us, so you can buy any record regardless of price." What I should have done was purchase Motley Crue 1995. That would have been $400 though. So I don't know what I could have done.
Buy that Metallica Master of Puppets box set that's now like $800 on eBay.
I thought you were going to say the Metallica EP.
Oh no. I'm good.
Which I have. You want to borrow it?
I don't have an original pressing, but I have the repress, which I love. So why would I want it?
What, the Beyond Magnetic EP?
Oh no, who wants that? Only
I got it.
Yeah, it's terrible. Why do you want that?
It is not terrible.
Very terrible.
And again, Steve, you answered the question.
No, it's a summer, yeah. That's you.
I was going to ask you about the packaging on this one. You already gave me that answer. Wow, I have never felt so useless on my own show.
Right. And as part of the new 4th host, he's coming on every week specifically to make Nick feel useless. That's my job.
As long as we don't have to listen to Styx records, I'm fine. We're all
oh man, well we're doing
Styx is coming up.
Records, so we
Styx is coming.
There we go.
What's going on here?
Strike. The most painful hour of my life, I think. Or close to it, anyway.
I don't think anybody wants. I mean, Styx is one of those '70s bands. So we did a Foreigner series, and I told the story earlier on the podcast. My buddy texts me today, and he says, "Hey, gonna chill, listen to Foreigner." I'm like, "One, Chris, you've never mentioned Foreigner in the entire 30 years I've known you, but whatever." And we did a series. It's like, "What'd you say about it?" Great songs, ass records.
Huh? Why?
And that's kind of how I would just what?
Why?
Have you listened to a Foreigner record?
I have them. I have most of them.
Have you listened to them?
Yeah, you start at the beginning. It plays song, song, song. Are you
And
saying
they're
or
good to you
sequencing?
all the way through.
Huh?
They're good to you all the way through.
Well, no. What?
There,
So
there you
many
go.
records that don't. What are you saying? Okay, because they have some filler in there. You're right. You can
No,
go back and like
they're Foreigner is the classic 30-30-30 band.
huh?
30 killer, 30 filler, 30 chiller.
I'm gonna bring my calculator to my turntable, and I'm gonna see if I can test that. I'm gonna start running
I
through
could
the.
grab a Foreigner record. We can go through some songs. If you don't even know it, it's chiller. And
What about
if
what does that mean for the Doobie Brothers? So how does that?
I don't know, but I saw them live recently, and I only know China Grove. I do know that Keefy is stuck, and he's recording this, so I don't know where this is going to go.
Okay.
But Michael McDonald is from Florissant, Missouri, so.
Oh, that's nice. Oh,
Like that Queen,
I'm sorry.
same
I need to
thing.
circle back to that,
Oh, go ahead.
the whole thing about the last song on there. So you get you buy it off of Bandcamp, you get a download. Download has the fourth song, and if you buy the CD, it's on there because it fits. You can get on, you can get it, you can get the song, and you don't have to compromise your vinyl, and and we don't have to charge more for it by doing a double.
Totally get that. I listened to the album today for the first time, and because I'm very famous for not streaming. I don't use Spotify. I don't really stream on Bandcamp. I buy albums, and that's basically how I listen to music. During the days at my office, I listen to podcasts or I listen to books on tape. Listening to the Nico Case autobiography right now.
Is
It's
she the woman from?
New Pornographers.
Yeah. Oh,
I've seen her
she got a
twice.
biography.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
I've seen her twice with Lawyer Wife. She loved it way more than I did.
Huh.
But I hope Keefy's like not stroked out.
I just finished the
He's still alive,
Electric
don't
Wizard
worry.
biography.
The what biography?
Electric Wizard.
Oh, they have a biography?
Yeah, I did
I'm
the
gonna guess
Kindle
that's
thing.
not on tape at my local library though.
It's new. It's all right. It's nothing. It's nothing you can't live without for sure. I mean, it's
Oh,
interesting, but you don't get along.
well, rock biographies come in one of three ways. Absolutely amazing because you understand what we want to hear about. Overly bloated and overly self-referential.
This one was number two.
Number two. Okay, because like the Aerosmith autobiography was number two. Did you ever read Walk This Way?
I did not.
I don't need 350 pages on what you fuckers did when you were 13 in upstate New England.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
not good. I just read we talked about this before you joined us, Steve. I just read the Alan Niven biography, Sound and Fury. Alan used to manage Guns N' Roses. He was infamously fired by them. He broke Great White. He signed Dokken. He worked with Clarence Clemens, a bunch of other people.
He signed, but we forgave him.
We did still forgive him. But that book is less than 250 pages. It's packed with great stories. He absolutely brutalizes people and bands he does not like. He also comes off as a very empathetic figure, and I interviewed him this week, and I was like, oh, I don't. He's more than just a manager. He also is an album producer, a songwriter, a video director, an A&R former person. He was a higher up at record labels. He's still in the business actually, but I said I don't really feel like managers. Doc McGee doesn't seem very empathetic to me, and whereas he is, and again, of course, like the underground and DIY artists. This is a whole world removed when he's talking about budgets for the fifth music video for Appetite for Destruction. This is a whole different world than we're
Well, they
used
have
to.
about $85.
No, they had sold several million records, so they had more than $85 considerably. He also fired Michael Bay off of a music video because he didn't understand what the band was looking for. I think that's amazing.
Wait a minute, that's the Transformers guy?
That is the
completely sexualized
Transformers
Megan
guy.
Fox?
I blow shit up. That's what I do. I'm Michael Bay.
Those movies were fucking terrible, and I love
Almost all of them, yeah. I don't know why.
You know why they were terrible?
Because they're Michael Bay directed.
No, because I couldn't tell Starscream from Optimus Prime in the fights.
Well, that's like every superhero movie, also.
But it's not like the cartoon.
Yeah, that's true.
If
Well,
I can't tell Starscream from,
so maybe you can tell your battleships apart.
Uh,
No, no,
hey,
I'm not.
Steve. I don't know
Yeah.
if Nick has any other questions about the record or the next record that we haven't heard yet. Um, do you, Nick? Before I change
Well, what I
gears.
wanted to say, I wanted to say, I listened to this album today and I was completely blown away by it. I like this better than 79 AE because the way it was recorded. So I'm assuming you did this old school, and I believe you had already said this, where you played the song all the way through and you picked the all the way through version that you liked the best. And not that I've ever had any complaints about any of your records, because I think I have seven at this point now. And but there was space. There was space between the notes. It didn't feel like 15 tracks of music coming out of my speakers. It felt like four. And when you get that more of a real feeling. And I could hear like the univibe and the wah and the chorus pedals, and it felt so much more real, and absolutely loved it. So
Well, thank
that's
you.
all I had to say.
Thank you. Um, I think we were a little concerned that where the way we
It
were
would be too
playing the
thin.
songs. I'm sorry.
That it would be too thin.
I'm sorry.
That it would be too thin.
No, that
I'm
it
sorry.
would.
If you're going to answer my questions before I ask them, I'm now going to try to give your answers before you do. It's only
I
fair.
what am I saying now? Um, I think there was a moment where we were concerned that we were playing the songs too much like the album version, and that if they said they might actually sound too good. And I know
No,
that's a
no.
ridiculous thing to think about, but it was like,
It is completely ridiculous, but even if you played it note for note, like it still would be very different. It had a different vibe, a different feel. And I hate using those like 1960s hippy dippy words, but it was groovy and I could feel the difference, even though, as my friend Joe once said when we saw Iron Maiden, Joe's not a metal guy at all, but he was there for his kid. And he said, you know what the greatest thing about metal bands is? You always get your money's worth. Those guys play tighter than a frog's ass. And you did. You played tighter than a frog's ass. But it didn't sound that way because it was more open. It was the same amount of loud with less cars on the road.
yeah. Well, that makes me very happy hearing that because I mean that's the thing. It's to give people who are interested in our music an opportunity to hear again something similar but something different, and having otherwise what's the purpose of having these live records if you're not getting something different than what you got before? And I'd rather have it's four instruments, and that's what they sound like, and there's no adornments.
And getting something different doesn't necessarily mean getting something better, but getting something of equal value. Like I sell on Discogs, and I put up a shit ton of live records recently because I've decided that the Ace Frehley live album is not that much better. It's not better, and it's not as pleasing as the studios.
Mhm.
This is pleasing in a different way. There are some bands like the aforementioned Kiss, where alive sounds better than their studio records.
Yes,
This does
agreed.
not sound better than your studio. It sounds different.
Right.
It sounds different and equally pleasing.
Cool. I'm
Excuse me.
happy to hear
I
that.
did not finger fudge pour this one properly.
I
No, I
really,
think what the mistake is that you are pouring the beer and then drinking out of the beer that has not settled. You need to take sips from your can and not pour the whole beer into the cup. That's the mistake you make every week. Also, you're like gesturing a lot like Don today because he's not here. So try to not move your headphone wires. They're feeding back a little. Um, so here's a
I'm
random
sorry,
question.
Keefy.
Yeah, here's a random question, Steve. Not to go political, but just matter of fact. You went over to Europe. What does that look like for you
You're
and when you have a new record? Europe, what does that look like for you in 2026 with increased visa fees and shipping merch over unless you're getting it printed there? Like, how much worse is it going to get for you to continue to do this thing we love from you?
we are going to. we are going to adapt, I guess. We had a goal of going back to Europe in last month. It did not work out. So we switched tracks and we're going to Canada in September. And it's a big world. So if we will go somewhere in 2026. Question is, what are the opportunities? But whatever comes along, we'll make it happen. So yeah, it might cost more money. We
Just
might
gonna
have,
say the Midwest is far more lucrative than everybody who says it's not lucrative that have actually done it. It's very lucrative.
we don't tour a lot. So to be honest with you, going down to Athens, Georgia would be,
Nobody
someplace we've
tours the
never.
Midwest. You get here, it's like I've been to the East Coast. I love the East Coast. I love the West Coast. The thing about the Midwest is we're like Canada. So like, you play Toronto, then you play Hamilton, and then 6 hours later you play Sarnia. And then 9 hours later you play Saskatchewan.
Did you say Narnia?
Sarnia.
I don't know where that is. Where is that?
For the love of fucking Christ.
Yukon?
It's by Ann Arbor.
Oh, how do I know?
It's in the Ontario Hockey League. Sarnia Sting.
Great.
Everybody knows this.
Not everybody. No, only you know
Yeah,
this.
I didn't know
People
that.
who live in Ontario don't know this. Come on
They
now.
no. Wow. You have besmirched the province of Ontario. No, seriously. The OHL is a big deal.
Is it?
Like really a big deal.
Are
Are
you
you
from
gonna say
Canada?
No.
Okay.
I
You'd
had
think he would be, though, the way he's going
I had a
hard.
coworker,
He goes
like
harder
literally.
for Canada than he
passionate
does
about
for
it.
Missouri.
I
Although I can't
Missouri
win.
sucks ass. I had a coworker.
Except you. You're awesome.
I know, thank you. I had a coworker that did not believe me that I was not from Canada.
Because you're that nice.
Not to her. She like screwed up the birthday board and took it home. So for like 6 months, every day, instead of saying good morning, good afternoon, hello, we said happy birthday.
I'm sorry, I get a question here.
Yes.
What's a birthday board?
A board at work where it has whoever's birthday it is that month. She was
I
going to
didn't
make a
know
whole.
that was thing.
It's
Coffee is for closers, Nick. Anyway, Nick is insane.
yeah, and I drink
He knows
fucking
that
coffee
reference.
because I close shit. I sell
He knows
things.
that
Anyway,
reference very well.
I've never seen
Is
the.
there cake at the birthday parties?
There's no party.
Oh,
No,
what's-
this
what's
is
the point of
corporate
going?
America, sir. There's no party. There's pretend recognition.
If
And
you don't have a cake for a birthday, there's no point of a birthday without cake. I'm sorry.
I don't eat cake, so it's fine. But we
Pie.
said every day was instead of good morning, it was happy birthday
Oh.
because since the birthday board wasn't there, we didn't know whose birthday it was. So that means it was everyone's birthday.
That's an awesome story. That's a great.
But
I
she
love
did
that
not
story.
believe I was not Canadian.
Oh.
Because I like
Well,
the
that's-
Canadian Football League. I like Canadian programs. I started a new Canadian program today, Son of a Critch, starring Malcolm McDowell. I saw his ass. Was not expecting that.
Oh.
That was surprising. This one is
You
based in
do know a
Newfoundland.
lot. You do know a lot about Canada, so I
I
can see
do.
why
I do.
it's
I do.
important.
I do. I love Canada.
Yeah.
But I don't know why we're talking about this now.
Hey, I got
Oh,
an
Canada.
idea. Let's
What's
ask
that?
the guest about the Black Sabbath and Ozzy farewell concert
Wait a
this
minute.
weekend.
I actually had a guest question. Can I ask the guest question
Sure, man.
about his things? Is that okay? Is that cool?
Well, I mean, I was trying to like push us to wrap up the Steve things, so we
I
can
wanted to ask a Steve question about
wrap
Steve
the
things.
show. But go
If-
ahead.
okay. We'll ask your question. It's fine.
No, you already interrupted me.
I did. So the Berliner recordings. What's going on with those?
So that's what so now that it seems like Birmingham was okay, was well received. It's something we want to do again. So that kind of jumped the order, but our goal is to put out the Berlin recording in February. So try and do a live record once a year.
Like in perpetuity?
Yeah, as long as we're walking the earth.
Cool. All right. Ask your question, Keefy, about things that don't involve Steve.
Sure. So, Black Sabbath farewell, Ozzy farewell this weekend as we talk. Thoughts on that? Thoughts on how do you think it's going to go? How do you think Ozzy and Black Sabbath are going to hold up? What do you think?
Me?
You're the
Sorry,
guest. Yes, you. I know what Nick thinks already.
I didn't know actually. Is Ozzy actually going to play? I mean, I heard a rumor that he was like bowing out, but let's assume he's playing.
There have been photos from rehearsals. I mean, none of them actually playing, but
He's going
on
to
a,
sit on a throne like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and sing from a chair a little with him.
he's gonna sing bits and
His
bobs.
backing band is going to do a set, Ozzy set, where Ozzy's going to sit in the chair and wave and sing a little, and then assorted people are going to come on and sing Ozzy songs, and then they're going to go off. Sabbath stuff's going to get put on. Sabbath's going to come on, and then it's going to be Sabbath with a bunch of guests, and then I assume Ozzy will sing Paranoid and Iron Man and War Pigs if he can.
I'm all in for all things Black Sabbath. I always have been, always will. But I can't help but feeling a little sad. I mean, I understand why they're doing it. You know, it's very sentimental, but as a fan, I mean, I certainly am not paying for it. Of course, I'm going to check it out when it makes its way to YouTube at some point.
Man
But I
after my
feel
own
like,
heart.
bands get frozen in time. You can like a band into its later years and still be moved, but my mind is like, has a vision of Black Sabbath, and when another version of Black Sabbath comes along that butts up against that vision, it makes me sad.
In my brain, Dio still isn't dead.
Yeah, I
Your
agree.
brain is fucked up then.
I know what's fucked up, but I just got recently a brand new live record from him from 1981. 4, 3. When the hell did Fresno? When was that recorded?
5.
5?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. 4 or
No.
5. I have it. I know.
It was not 1985 recorded.
Okay, sure. Whatever you think.
I'm gonna Google it now.
Now he's gonna clickety clack, mute yourself, and I'll talk. Good. Yeah, I also have the same kind of ambivalence, Steve. I love Ozzy.
1983.
Whatever. Who's talking?
Nah, whatever. You said 85.
Whatever, man. Knicks need to be right over, overcompensating for what could be a better show. If you sometimes just accept his fate.
The original tagline of this show was "It's the worst podcast in the world."
I didn't. That wasn't my pod. That was my tagline.
It was my tagline. I've
Yeah, it's
made all the
terrible.
taglines.
Who would listen to such a thing?
People did.
No, they didn't. They were just they didn't want to hurt your feelings, man.
I could see the numbers. It was
Yeah, I don't
not
think
big.
so. Yeah, well, your wife and kid don't count. They don't listen anyway. They
No,
don't
of
even.
course they don't listen. They
They
hear
don't
me
listen.
enough.
They would never let you back in the house after you left for work.
No.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm nervous. I think Ozzy's doing really bad. Bill doesn't look particularly great, but he swears that he's played drums every day for years and years.
Don't
Can
believe
Geezer
that.
and Tony come out and play a good show? I'm sure Ozzy's band is all guys younger than him.
Is Apathy there?
No,
Serious question.
no, he hasn't been. No, he was not invited. I did see that. What's his face who got shot? Jakey Lee will be there by invitation, and so that means he's going to probably play a couple of songs with the
Good.
Ozzy band.
Jakey Lee should be there.
Sharon hates him.
hard
And
to be
hates
on.
everybody that she's.
Sharon
ever
hates
paid
everybody
money
not
to.
named Ozzy.
Well, I don't think she loves Ozzy that much either. She wouldn't be doing this.
She doesn't hate him though.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't care.
Read her book. Her book is also like
I haven't read her book.
thumbs down.
I don't need her book. What I need is this to be the greatest show of all time.
Well, that is to be the
Perfect swan. What it's not going to be
I got some
is
bad
that.
news for you.
And I
Sorry.
think I will go on a limb. I'm going to do this again in a couple of other places, but I predict there will be no Dio Black Sabbath songs
Oh
performed
no, of course
at
not.
all.
And that's what's so unfortunate.
Which sucks, by the way.
Yeah, it
Even
totally
I,
sucks.
who am an Ozzy person,
I would
love
like to.
Dio.
I would like to see why aren't Hughes and Gillan there?
Well, I don't know.
If this is a Black Sabbath thing,
Because to Sharon and Tony, Black
I
Sabbath
know.
was the first six.
No, just Sharon, not Tony.
Yeah, Tony also.
Tony had to make a deal with the devil
Well,
because he didn't have any
the
goddamn
devil,
money.
pun intended, he had to make that deal.
He made the deal. He made the deal because
He owned the name and the trademark, and Sharon.
another Tony Martin record was not going to sell, so they needed Ozzy back. Because Dio
It's
said,
it's
fuck
too
you
bad.
again, because Dio's an idiot.
Well, I don't know.
Dude
You
wouldn't
can't say
open
that
for
he's.
Ozzy on his farewell tour,
I remember.
and
But
that
part
was
of
the
the other
6
part.
months.
Can you
6
stop
months was
talking?
dehumanized. No, I will never
You
stop.
need. I will mute you forcibly in a minute. You have to stop. I'm trying to make a point and you're talking. I'm trying not to talk over you, and then Nick already ruined. Can't take you anywhere. So Dio's book, which you should have read, I did.
I read Dio's book.
Yeah, you did clearly forgot subjective parts of it when he talked
I
about
read 4 years ago, 5 years
his
ago.
beeps with Sharon and Ozzy about being called Black Sabbath. They would not let them have the name back to be Black Sabbath.
That was not in his book. That was in a different book.
It's in his book.
His book stopped at Madison Square.
With The Devil You Know.
No,
Yeah.
solo.
No.
I read the book that stopped at Madison
He
Square
did not
solo.
ever play Madison Square Garden as Dio solo. There's just no way. Never in his life.
It wasn't Madison Square. It was somewhere important.
It was Madison Square Garden. Anyway, just like Gary Holt's book begins and ends at Madison Square Garden. You're welcome. Spoiler alert. Anyway,
Still haven't read it.
I think, Sharon doesn't want to. I feel like she feels like anything that draws worship away from classic Black Sabbath is not for her. You want to put it on her. Well, I think if Ozzy was left up to his own devices.
No, Sharon, classic Sabbath, and classic Ozzy.
Well, they didn't play any of the Dio songs when Ozzy was back. I mean,
because he can't sing them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like also he wouldn't even try.
And that's why Bruce Dickinson is so amazing.
Was a #1 hit song. Like Anthrax doesn't do Only from a platinum selling record. I know they tried it a little bit when Belladonna came back in. Let's ignore 11, 12, 13 years of our career that sold almost many more records than the other records we made with Joey. But that's the classic Anthrax. As an Anthrax fan, that kind of irritates me.
It's when Bruce Dickinson comes back to Iron Maiden, they sang 2 Blaze Bayley tunes, including the Dianu songs. That's why Bruce Dickinson is the greatest of all time.
Okay, if you think so.
Said it. I'm done.
Do you have anything else for our guest? If not, take us home. Thanks again, Steve.
Steve, thank you for joining us. Keefy, we'll deal with this in the chat later. Everyone who's been listening, thank you so much.
Deal with yourself. Don't deal with me.
I'm sorry. Did you just talk over me?
That I did. Okay. You may resume.
Thank you. Thank you for your permission. Do I have to start over? No. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you have made it this far, you are awesome, amazing. And you know what? There's going to be a lot of cool content that you're going to want to hear, because this show is not all that different than most of our shows. We ramble, we bitch, we drink beer, we talk about metal, we make vague references to nothing. And, as always, this has been the Glacially Musical Podcast. It does not play in Peoria.